She is a weak beggar, one they'd call crazy. A girl by the name of Delphine Carai paces softly on the sidewalk of her neighborhood. Although it is late, the streets are alive. Hundreds of people are scattered around the town of Marvey West. They whisper to their accompanying partner with looks of disgust, but Delphine doesn't have to ask if it's about her. The answer is obvious. Homeless, tired, hungry, hated. They never lend even $1 to her sorry soul. At first, the neat couple that wears nice clothing and bright smiles seem friendly, but then they point and laugh at her disheveled attire, along with the rest of the wealthy neighborhood. Delphine wants to cry but doesn't, saying she doesn't deserve to feel sorry for herself, for how different she is. Delphine's family abandoned her because of her ability to see spirits. That day, she swore to never trust another being again. It must be difficult to trust another when all the people you've ever trusted betray you. The blame she claims to exist has never been towards anyone else except herself. For buckling under pressure, for wanting the pity that no one will give her, for being penniless, and for mutating into an insomniac from the paranoia. She is certain that there is no bigger criminal than the one she sees in the mirror. I'm a monster, her thoughts echo. It's all my fault. It's confusing to why you put yourself through this torture, Delphine. If it's pain you can stop, then why let it continue? Block out your conscience, Delphine. It's what triggers fear and sadness. It may also tell you right from wrong, but if you are determined to believe everything you do is wrong, then what use does this negativity have? Around the corner of a silent alleyway, Delphine spots a glow, a bright blue aura surrounding a young girl with sleek black hair that falls to her shoulders and bangs covering her forehead. She's wearing a simple white dress with black stockings and flats. A white ribbon is tied into a bow around her knee. Her eyes are empty and dark, as if there's not a soul attached to them. Eyes are the windows into the soul. But what does one do if the building windows adorn seems empty from the outside view? They would stare in fear of what is not there, similar to the fear of darkness. It's the evolved fear of the unknown. In darkness, the nyctophobic being would tremble, afraid of what does not exist. Without anything presented in front of them, their minds run wild, thoughts stemming from their deepest phobias that terrify them to near death. Xerotophobia is another example. When noise decreases to a point of non-existence, the subject can sense an odd atmosphere. The fear usually spikes when the silence indicates the horror of being alone. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? If you scream for help in the woods, do you make a sound? It's the same answer for both questions. Yes, but no one will hear the noise if no one is around. That's similar to what Delphine is fearing at this moment. An absent soul lacks mercy and empathy. Without one, the being is no longer human and does not occupy feelings. Sadness, love, joy, jealousy, and anger will never be felt. They only know the feeling of agony and regret. Being constantly reminded of their permanent state in purgatory must be all it takes to trigger remorse. The girl's small nose and mouth make her appearance resemble a doll, of course, but only if that doll is possessed by a demon. She's a spirit, seeming to be only about 7 or 8 years old. The poor child must have died at the wrong time. The younger years go by so much quicker than any other age, so her death must have been sudden. People say that we all have 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. However, when you think about it, we really have 7 senses. Along with the other 5, there is awareness and time. Awareness as in knowing when something bad is going to happen. We can sense an unsettling atmosphere, like when approaching our deathbed. Children don't normally develop this sense quickly, but for the infant, they immediately obtain the instinct. This is because time passes faster for them. This is intertwined with the 7th sense, time, as in time perception. A month passes in what seems like a day for some, but on the other hand, another might perceive it as a year. It's simply depending on if we pay attention or not. When one is focused, they remember a more detailed situation. Children tend to not remain focused for more than a short period of time, allowing years to go by within seconds. To put it in an understandable manner, a long and descriptive paragraph takes far more time to read and comprehend than a single sentence. A summary of a novel takes less time to read than the actual text. And some people have 8 senses, the 8th being the ability to see entities between life and death. One of these people is none other than Delphine. The spirit's clenched fist reaches out to her as she freezes from fright. The time passes slowly for her as she notices every detail, from the darkness in the sky to the pale freckles on the spirit's cheeks. The unsettling silence falls upon her after the earthquake of her pounding heartbeat that shook the ground beneath her. The city does not make a sound, as if it is dead. The name Etienne Sakai echoes in Delphine's brain as she stares at the spirit. It is as if the girl is communicating through telepathy. As soon as Delphine acknowledges the thought, she feels as if her brain is being electrocuted. Afraid, she takes a deep breath and runs as fast as she possibly could from the girl. Now a mile away, the spirit lowers her head, viewing the diamond in her hand that she could not give to Delphine. She cries, sorry for not being able to help her. Weren't entities apathetic? Weren't they unable to feel emotion? Or was that just an ignorant prediction that Delphine had generalized with her entire life? This assumption must have been what disabled her from trusting new people, or anyone at all. It's insane to believe that one individual represents all like its kind, because not everything is what it seems.